Take a quick look at the driveway bed. I had some snowplow damage for sure. And then we have these boxwoods I just put in. These are wintergreen boxwoods. I had a little bit of winter kill on them, which I wasn't expecting. We had a standard zone for winter. So I think in the future I'll probably have to put cones on them because I really don't want to deal with that. We'll just have to see. Then I had lots of nice bunny damage. Bunnies came in, decimated anything that was above ground. This is a hydrangea, a nice pink one if it comes back. I have planted some really nice burning bushes and the bunnies chewed that down. They didn't have a lot of food, so they were chewing on whatever they could. We have a lot of branches down on the path here, as you can see. I'm going to need to do some cleanup here, which is fine. We can use it for our fire pit, so that always works out good too. I have this really nice willow tree, which one of my daughters named Edward. Why Edward, I do not know, but she named him Edward. And you can see that we got this split here. Got this split right here. I had an arborist come look at it and he suggested we cut that off. So my husband's going to get a chainsaw. This is what's left of the snowdrift on the edge of my driveway. Lucky enough, this is what I refer to as my Dutch garden. And I have flanked both sides of this path with tulips and daffodils. And this is the third year that they've come up. They're starting to come now. So that's kind of nice. And it's all the way for the whole path. I've got little tulips coming up in different places. So it'll be fun to kind of watch this as the days go by here. When we get really warm, they should really start popping. This is a mass planting of some red and white candy cane style tulips, which I really like. I might have to break away. If you can see how thick that mass is, I might need to thin it out a little bit. This is some area in the yard where I would have had mice probably running around underneath the snow. That's why it's all kicked up like this. It looks kind of funny. Probably mice. Got some new boots for gardening, so they're really nice. They got a nice thick heel in it and they're pretty well insulated. So comes in handy when I still have some snow on the ground. This is the first look at my rose garden, which is simply a patch along the outside of my vegetable garden here. And the bunnies just devoured, they just devastated them. They were just chewed up like crazy all the way along here. It's very discouraging to see what I get for new growth. Most of these are climbing roses, and I was sort of hoping to be able to come out and be able to stake them up, but I don't know. I think we're going to have to wait for some new growth. You can see all the bunny biscuits are all over the ground, unfortunately. So next winter I'll definitely have to put some better caging around to protect this area. We had in most cases we had over 18 inches of snow, so it's just been crazy. It's really bad. I think the thing that shocks me the most is I put all my apple trees, I put these apple trees in here to protect them. So they're in containers, but you can see what the vermin did. I mean, the bunnies just got up on there and just made one heck of a mess out of them. So I don't think they're going to make it. We'll see. I doubt it. Sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try. We've got a 6-foot fence here, And then we have put in the tighter mesh fence to keep the bunnies out. But if the snow is going to drift 3 feet up to it, they're going to bounce right over. And bunnies, this is a 1x3 or 1x4 inch opening, and bunnies actually can go through it because they're mostly fluff, and the skeleton can, and their skull can go over it. So it's just, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, but just need to do a better job next year, I guess. So a lot of times as we prepare for winter, I just simply tuck things away to make it through. Those are all my tulips in containers. Well, the stuff on top, the red stuff is stuff my husband was supposed to dump it around in a different area, and he dumped it on top of my tulips, but it is what it is. I just pick them up and I'll reuse those containers. But in some cases you can see there's water sitting on top of those tulips, which is a little bit concerning to me down in there. So if he gets home tonight, I might have him pick these up. It's literally been frozen till right about now, so maybe we'll be okay. But tulips do not like sitting in wet soil, so hopefully if we can get them lifted out of there and get them on the bench, they can dry out. I'm hoping. As we walk through here, we're going to come into my little woodland garden area. Still got snow drifted in between the trees here. But here is a newer bed for the end of last year that I put in, where I planted a couple hundred, I don't know, 200-300 daffodils, and you can see they're starting to come. This is almost kind of like a raised bed, and it's underneath this canopy. So early in the spring, like now, there's no leaves in here, so they're getting full sun, which they like. And then at the point in time they come up, that canopy will start coming, and then they will go back to sleep until next year. But yeah, I've got tons of them. A little bit of sun out. It's pretty warm right now. I think it's almost 60 degrees. Here we had some little mice digging under the bark and stuff here too, which is fine. Typically they don't do a whole lot of damage. Even in here you can see where they were hungry enough to come and chew on sumac, which nothing chews on sumac. That's how hungry they were. The bunnies, that is. Here's a look how that looks coming through there. I thought it's going to be fun when that all comes up. I come around to the back side of this. I've got some markers because I had put some different plants in here. I put some ferns in that I transplanted from another area, and some other things. Got a little bit of snow mold on the top of the bark. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see it. Put it here. You can see that's a little bit of snow mold, which is just kind of weird stuff. It's all white. The camera doesn't want to pick it up. It looks like little cobwebs, which is fine. It's part of the natural process. Living in the Northland, it's going to be fun to see how these daffodils decide to come up. We'll watch these progress over the next weeks. I put daffodils in here because the bunnies won't touch them, and they're not supposed to. That's why I put them in there. Here's one of my ferns. I transplanted. It's still asleep, so. And then I have some Empress Wu, very large Empress Wu hostas in here. Very early spring yet. If you listen carefully, you can hear the cardinal up in a tree sending out his alarm. They're letting everybody know there's somebody around or something around that could be dangerous. It's always nice to learn the different bird calls, I think. But yeah, so this is going to be quite spectacular. Really looking forward to seeing it come up here. Seeing all the blooms come. Got a couple different varieties, so hopefully they don't all come at the same time. This is the area in front of my vegetable garden entrance, which I usually put a grand display of different containers, annuals. And then in the ground I have some tulips and some other spring bulbs that are coming. They're starting to pop up already. And so I'll clean this out. I also have some clematis on the fence here. And I usually just plant annuals in this area other than the tulips and stuff. You can see all these containers with water in them. I'm not liking that at all, so I'm hoping everything will be fine. We can get it pulled out and then put it on that rack my husband built me last year. I put so many things in the ground, all my little transplants and stuff like that, so I'm thinking some of them look pretty good, like they're going to be just fine.